Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutty, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam, put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon, FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA, welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you here today. Glad you here today. What's good, everybody? What? I almost said Wednesday night AMA, man. Special Tuesday edition. Thanks to Thanksgiving holiday travels.
Yeah,
Tuesday
man.
night AMA.
Tuesday night
Like
AMA.
old school.
We're
doing these on Tuesdays. Feels like
man.
forever ago.
It does. We're thankful, man. We're thankful, so we're not going to let AMA not happen, you know? We're not just going to let that happen.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Just
Mike,
so everyone's aware, I'm rocking the Keon Coleman today.
I was just going to ask you. That's
Coleman.
I figured it had to be the Coleman one, but, you know.
That's
you can see the top of it, that's all.
That's the most maroon. Actually, it's garnet, but, you know, as close to Brock Purdy as you're ever going to fucking see me wear.
I was going to say it. I wanted to distinguish that because it's looking not quite. It's more of the red, right? But looking damn near like that Frisco color, man. Speaking of which, you weren't on you were not on this week. You had, listen, you had fun. You had fun. We hung over. We've all been there, right? So we had E come on. What a week for you to miss the recap, though, because people are coming off the week he had before. The chirpers were back, as we like to say, right?
They were back,
and now it feels like they feel like they're healthy. They're healthy this week.
Good,
so
right?
I figured we had to talk with you about what you thought this week with the performance and what is Brock Purdy to you moving forward. Any changes? Any consideration with the last 2 weeks in mind? Still, the previous 3 weeks were not good, but go ahead.
I mean, if you really got down in the weeds and like what I've said about Brock Purdy, like officially, not persona, not just Brock Purdy sucks,
Mm-hmm.
He's okay. He's okay. Had a really great game. I think I've been on here and talked about how he had a good game before. It's happened. The only thing that was kind of weird about this one, it just made me really question this, Adam. I saw he had a perfect passer rating, and people were hyping that up.
Of course.
And then I was like, hey, what are we doing, man? When's the last time we used passer rating? You remember, what was it, 15 years ago? ESPN was like, passer rating sucks. We're going to make our own called QBR. And then this kind of got adopted all over the place.
Yep.
So why they still track passer rating, I guess? Who gives a shit? I've never heard fantasy analysis where somebody talked about a quarterback's passer rating. Nobody gives a shit anymore. You talk about, CPOE, EPA, ADOT, yards after the catch, receiver target separation, money throws, interceptable passes, danger plays, all these advanced statistics. I never heard, I listen to a lot of podcasts too. I've never heard a single son of a bitch go this dude leads the league in passer rating. Nobody gives a fuck.
Well,
nobody cares.
I do like that, though.
I was wondering why that's still a thing. Why is that still around?
I got your answer, actually. I'm with you, though. I'd say passer rating is an older metric that we don't really – I guess as the game's evolved, it's not as much of an important stat, right? And a lot of people don't pay much attention to it. I think the reason it was relevant and why they're pushing it as much as it was, one, it's – I guess to that scale, it was perfect, right? But two, there was no such thing back when Montana and Young played to compare it to try to act like he's the only quarterback Frisco's had to do it other than these two guys. Because if you try to use a different stat, I mean, you're talking, back in the heyday. If you wanted to compare it to those two guys, and I think there's the correlation, the narrative they're trying to push. They finally found their next GOAT quarterback type stuff. That's what the media feels like it's pushing anyway.
Well, that's fair. And then to set me down this rabbit hole too. I've seen other guys have really good games from the quarterback. As far as fantasy are concerned, they've had monster games. no picks, no turnovers, right? High completion percentage, lots of touchdowns on the board.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, when Sam Howell carved up the Eagles a few weeks ago, like, what was his passer rating, right? He put up 32 fantasy points plus, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Took care of the ball. What was his passer rating?
What'd we get?
114. And I'm like, how does one guy get 158 off of, that? Another guy only, whatever, fucking passer.
Well, I mean, passer rating kind of like it. All that stat really speaks to the perfectness was when throws were there, he made them, and he didn't fuck anything up. Right? That's really what
fair.
the perfect thing means. It just because Sam Howell, I don't think was also in the position to, really thrive a whole game in that Washington offense. We've seen plenty of weeks where,
right.
I mean, if you had a perfect game versus the Eagles defense, by the way, seeing I know there was a ton of drops versus the Chiefs just last game, but if you had a perfect game versus the Eagles, now that I'll go back to the old stats because that's fucking crazy. Like that defense is ridiculous, bro. Like if you did that, so I'm just curious your thoughts here because I agree with that point, and I think that's where we can go over now, right? Let's go over and let's bring up. Let's not use any. Let's use a fantasy metric, one that.
Oh, by the
kind
way.
of taking the Dynasty League by storm. Let's go ahead and talk about these. Here, I'll pull up the shit one since you got that one, right?
Using a coaster.
If you guys
Shout out
caught
to our patron, Anto Honcho, man. Hooked us up.
Anto Honcho, man. So if you caught the thumbnail, I put the wood grain San Francisco background in there, a little touch of that because I saw Mike. Yeah. Mike couldn't wait for me. I saw his yesterday. I'm like, holy crap, these are fire. Then I get him in person and super excited. They go perfect with a South Harmon, Whether you want a bourbon glass or you got the beer glass.
Ain't nobody else getting one of these though.
Bang. Oh.
Well, that's a South Harmon boss, but that's the one that I bought the one off the website, right? The first one, and my wife put it in the dishwasher and it like melted the label off. So then she had this one like made up because she felt
nice. Bad. Well done. So. But I don't know how we're gonna use them yet. We'll probably do some of these with giveaways. And we'll probably figure out a way to put maybe some of them on the website too, if people are interested.
I think we should do that, man. Anto did a fucking.
These are, it's funny actually. Let me give you. This is actually Anto. I'm glad. I want to get to this Warp Rock Purdy thing, but this is no better time than this. All right, just so you guys get a clue here at what we're really working with, the type of elegance. I'll put that out here. Okay,
yeah.
These are the two different type of woods, right?
That one. Closest to me. I love that one.
Yeah.
That wood.
Yeah.
I'm not a woody. I don't know what that is. That woody. And
I think it's mahogany.
I think if you take we'll say it's mahogany. If you could take that and put that little tiny logo on it in the bottom corner.
Yes.
Creme de la creme.
That is.
Not that any of the other ones are bad, but I'm just like,
I'm with you.
Thinking in my head. Like, I think that'd be perfect.
So to give you guys an idea, okay, this is a full inch. This wood is legit. We're probably going to take it down a little bit. These are a little thick, but at the same time, man, I want you to understand.
What an inch looks like.
Yeah, and so when Mike tells you he's got 3, like it looks a little better when you say this is 1 inch. All right. This is what I've been rocking with down here. Okay, and I want you to just understand. I want you to understand how chintzy and like I thought these were actually not that bad, and then you get these, and it's kind of like when you get the warp tool. To your point, Mike, it's actually a perfect segue. That's why I used it.
Is it?
When you start realizing you're using this old shit that's kind of just, it's okay, but then you get a game changer situation. So let's talk about warp, Mike, with the warp tool and Brock Purdy. So I was just looking, I pulled up, I just did mind warped 6-point passing touchdown lineup, 12, 11 by 30. That's the one I pulled up. If you want to pull up a different one, we can do that.
I'll rock that one.
So this week, I think he's going to be like top 5 probably, right? Maybe close to top 5. I don't actually know for sure. He was good, but I don't know
just for 1 week. You pull that up. I want to see the overall standings, but you pull it up just for this week. Let me know where he was.
Yeah,
I would imagine he was like QB2 on the week, wasn't he? QB2 or 3.
Let's pull up the adjusted warp table. Okay, so adjusted warp table has him at Calvin Ridley was 1, Reek was 2, T-Law was the number 1 quarterback, then Saquon, Tank Dell, Keenan Allen, 7th overall player, quarterback 2 in this format here. So obviously, it's going to change based on the scoring in each league. But, yeah, to your point, quarterback 2. And we saw Trevor Lawrence had a great day. That's the only one that was ahead of him. Even Herbert, who had, I think, like 80-something yards on the ground, was quarterback 3. But they're very close. Yep. Brock Purdy was 0.3 in warp, gave you this week. So
a third of a win in a warp. I like it.
So
He was good. He had a great week.
Yeah,
I won't
I
take
mean,
anything from him.
no, of course not. Well, I guess here's the question: moving forward, is it still for Brock Purdy? All jokes aside, actually, if you want to lean into it, I'm happy with that. But give me your take on this performance. Does it change anything for you really with the evaluation of Brock Purdy in the long term and in this season?
No.
Okay.
I think I've said for a while, like, he's a QB2. He's going to have some weeks, but he's also going to have a lot of weeks where he's more detrimental to you because you're starting him in your Superflex spot. Now, depending on the type of league you're in, right? If you're in a best ball league, is Brock Purdy worth a first? I think we can all say yes. In start 9 best ball, start 13, start 16, like that crazy psychotic one you set up, yes, he's worth a first. Like, that's just the way it is. He is.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback. He's worth a first. And if you're going to play at this kind of high-end fluctuation of QB2 with potential to maybe be top 5 option on the week, sure, yeah. Do I think he's solidified as like keep trade cuts quarterback 12 or 13? I think that's where people are starting to make their first mistake.
Okay.
But, we want to have an argument about it. At least it's a reasonable conversation. The fact that I've been such a staunch proponent of it is I said in start 8, because that's where the original question came back from, like week 1 or 2 in the Patreon, where this whole thing started, really. Somebody sold him for a first. What was projected a late first. Right now that first is more mid, and it's a start 8 league. Start 8, start 9, start 10. Like, Brock Purdy isn't the type of quarterback that I want to be in my Superflex spot, Adam. I want hammers. I want a hammer in my quarterback spot. I want a hammer in my Superflex spot. Because why? There's so few other options with the amount of starters to make up for the massive amount of points that quarterbacks score. So, Brock Purdy, yes. Can he have a top 5 week? Sure. I want the guys who are going to do it more times than not, though, right? I want those more consistent hammer-type quarterbacks. So if I have the opportunity to sell Brock Purdy in a league like that, had QB 12 or 13 prices on keep trade cut, by all means, gone, out the door. The original question was, should I sell him for a first? Yes. Take that first. Use it to go get a hammer at another position, right? To tier up into a Justin Jefferson, or to tier up into a Chase, or to tier up into a Christian McCaffrey, or use it to tier up at quarterback. If Brock Purdy's your QB3 in a lineup league like start 8, and you're really only going to start him 2-3 times a year, why are you holding that kind of value in a reserve, right? Go out and just find some shitter quarterback that you can plug in for 1 or 2 weeks to get by with, while you ride out the other 2. So it's a matter of roster construction and league format. We want to talk like a start 12 lineup league. Like, those are pretty common, right? Start 12 lineup league.
Yeah.
You want to roll Brock Purdy out as your super flex quarterback every single week? Go ahead. Like, I got no qualms with that. He's decent enough. Me personally, I want to always kind of shoot for the moon at the quarterback position, but he's completely fine.
Gotcha.
The biggest pushback I always have is people are like, he was free. So I go find $100 bill on the street, and I go, well, I can just let it sit here and rot, or I can actually take it and do something with it, right? Well, it was free, so it doesn't really matter. I get that. I get the sentiment, but Dynasty, man, I'm all about, like, if I got something that was cheap or a value, let me sell it. Let me move into the next thing. Let me hoard all the assets possible. So this whole, like, argument, well, he was cheap or he was free, he was a 5th-round pick, I picked him up off of waivers, whatever it was. I don't care. If you're going to get these type of prices, move them. You're doing yourself and your team a disservice to not at this point. And then we get into the whole Sam Howell debate. And really, to me, there's no debate. Okay? Keep trade cut, rather have Brock Purdy. Right? The community would rather have Brock Purdy. That's a fallacy, in my opinion.
Okay.
Brock Purdy doesn't do anything that Sam Howell doesn't do better. Period. Right? Sam Howell is better in warp. He's better in points per game. He's better in your finish. He's better throwing the ball down the field. He's better with money throws. He's doing it with worse weapons. He's doing it with a worse offensive line. He's doing it in a system or a situation around him, from ownership to the coaching, everything on down, that's worse than what San Francisco has in place, right?
Sure.
And he's done it in adverse circumstances against good teams. These are all things that I still have question marks about Brock Purdy, right? His 3-game bad stretch, down stretch, came when he wasn't having his full complement of weapons. No Trent Williams, no Debo. And he looked like ass. And then people were like, well, he had a concussion. Do you have a concussion for 3 straight games? Maybe. But he also looked horrible for 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
So, to me, there's really no debate. And if you're going to tell me 1 for 1, I could get into a Sam Howell or I could get into a Brock Purdy, it's going to be a Sam Howell. But I will tell you this, even with Sam Howell in his start 8 or start 9 lineup league, Adam, if he was the piece to get me into a Herbert, a Joe Burrow for next year, a CJ Stroud, a Tua. Like, I'm doing that too. I'm using Sam Howell's ass to move up to get into something a little bit more secure. But this is where I'm at, and I'm constantly fighting the patrons. I don't think Brock Purdy's god-awful dog shit. He's just like a hipster, cooler version of Kirk Cousins at this point.
I mean, okay, that last part, I mean, I can kind of get behind that, though, as far as what he might mean to you. And I think some of the points you made, I'm 100% with you. I think there's, like, even in lineup start, like, 8, 9, right, these shallow ones. If I can upgrade my Superflex spot, I'm 100% going to try to do that. I think typically you'll find the cheat code in that type of a setting is to have 2 quarterbacks that are true top 12 options. And that's, I want to kind of build that foundation if possible. It's not always possible. If I had to have Brock Purdy as my Superflex in that format, I don't love the situation, but I'm not saying like I'm screwed because of it. Now, if I can find a way again to sell him, and then maybe if I know I can flip that asset and get into another quarterback situation via a trade like that, I'd be more open to it depending on my league. But I think that for me, the Cousins thing that you said there at the end, like I think in lineup start 9, there's definitely some situations where I had Cousins at my Superflex spot. I didn't feel like I have a hammer there, but I don't feel bad there. I don't even know right now. I'm starting to feel like potentially Purdy can be someone that's a solid, that's as best as I can say it, a solid quarterback to option and Superflex option. But I don't know. This was the one time we've seen a kind of true difference-making week from him at the position, and he threw a perfect game. He played his best possible football. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he is never going to play a good game again. I just don't know if he offers this type of weekly upside often. And so for me, I think it's it was good to see, if you have Brock Purdy shares, if you were a defender of him, it was good to see him have a pop week. But we'll see if he continues it, and if this complement of weapons can all stay healthy and this type of play can continue. For me, I agree with that, though. Like Cousins-esque feel of that value. But if I have to pay more for that because people are getting excited for Brock Purdy, I'm good, and I'm willing to sell if I can stay into certain quarterback ranges. So I think realistically that's where I'm at. If you don't have a way to liquidate him or get into a higher quarterback option, I'm fine with it. But if you have opportunities to, someone wants to come get Brock Purdy, they think this is going to be the new norm, and you can get into a safer asset, I'm with you. The Howell thing, I think for upside, I agree still. Like, I know Howell's coming off a bad game, and everyone's going, they lost to the freaking Giants, all this. I think the reality is Howell still offers more upside weekly. I think the one problem could potentially be that maybe he doesn't have a secure home, right? Like, that's what people's pushback will be. In certain spots, Mike, in Brock Purdy territory and Sam Howell territory, I'm a little more willing to give up some safety if I can get the upside. So I still think I'm with you on the Howell versus Purdy thing, but I think it is getting close. If you wanted to play the safer route, that's Purdy for me. The upside route is Sam Howell, frankly, in my opinion.
Just looking down the road, too, like some other things to put in, right? Both of us, I think, can agree. We don't feel Jordan Love is very safe, right?
No.
Like a long-term quarterback. Still, if you look at like AWAR per game, he's better than Brock Purdy has been on the year for fantasy purposes. So you go, okay. Well, you try to match the two up, and I go, well, Purdy, they want to build around this rookie contract and this kind of stuff. The only pushback I always have against that, Adam, is yes, they moved on from Trey Lance, and people are like, well, they'll never move on from Purdy because after that. Well, they also traded for Jimmy G, gave him a big extension, and then went on a playoff run where they figured out that Jimmy G wasn't the guy who could push them over to the hump. Like, they needed him to make one goddamn throw in the Super Bowl to win it, and he couldn't do it. And then he could never really get over the hump ever going back. Like, he was just good enough, right? So that's why they made the move for Trey Lance. And then they found Purdy, and they're like, okay, maybe this is the guy. I'm just saying, what if we get into a scenario, right? It doesn't look like right now they're going to get the 1 seed, right? That's probably going to be the Eagles, maybe the Lions, right? Dallas is probably going to be in the mix. Like, it's a tough road to get the 1 seed, meaning they're going to have a first-round playoff game.
Yeah.
What if they come out and the reason they lose that game is because of Brock Purdy? What if it's all over again for Kyle Shanahan going, fuck, I don't have a quarterback who can actually win me the game. I have everything I need around him. We see how great the system and the weapons are around him. We see how great that defense is. If it's the quarterback again holding him back, you honestly going to tell me that they wouldn't go out and try to make a move? If somebody became available that they thought they could do it, Kirk Cousins is probably going to be a free agent. That's kind of Kyle Shanahan's guy. You don't think he would entertain that? That's all I'm saying about, like, we think Purdy's secure for the next 3 years here. Just saying maybe. Maybe not as safe as we want. Maybe not as safe as Jordan Love, who's a first-round draft pick, right? Who they're going to have to make a decision on the offseason. Maybe these guys carry the same risk.
Yeah, I mean, the Niners, like, I think what's crazy is they gave up all that draft capital for Lance, and then they moved on, right? They are finally back, believe it or not now, Mike. They're finally back to having their onslaught, their whole pick situation, right? And the interesting part, though, is that the reason they ended up spending all that for Lance, it's funny. You look back, and a lot of the NFL is like a copycat type situation. There was obviously, to your point, the quarterback situation was what they felt like needed. They wanted to get them over the hump. And it was more of a, we don't want a safe quarterback like Jimmy G. Because you saw safety is not going to do anything in a bad situation. A safe quarterback and the Raiders, once you ask him to get unsafe and push the ball downfield, all of a sudden it's really bad. So
yes, he looks horrible.
You understand what the process is. And you saw how much the Rams had just given up to go get Stafford and win a title. And I think that kind of really stuck in their mind, and they said, you know what, we're going to spend up because what are they always going to have, Mike? They're always going to have later picks, even if Purdy's ass. He's not right now, by the way. I want to make sure everyone. But let's say he was ass. This team's so good, they're not going to be in a position to go draft a quarterback. So then, do they essentially go down the road of probably trying to get an upside play, trade a bunch of future first to get into the high end quarterback? I don't think they're going to do that. To your point. Would they bring in a Cousins? Would they bring in someone else? That's always on the table. The one thing, at least during his next 2 years, will be obviously paying him, speaking of ass, like an ass contract. He's making nothing. Versus, even if you brought Cousins in, you're going to give him. I mean, Daniel Jones got $40 million. I mean, it's crazy to think that, but he's going to get 30 something. So how does it work with their team? The cap is a myth, by the way. They could push money around and make it work for a year or two if they really, really wanted to go down that road.
Yeah, that's bullshit. The cap is always bullshit, man.
It can just be manipulated too easily all the time. And you see the Saints who are just like, we're never going to allow. They're basically going into credit card debt, right? So,
no, they're taking out payday loans, man. They're past credit card debt.
That's fair, yeah. But the point, I guess, is now. If they do have a situation like that, yeah, they'll always be swinging for upside because this team's so good. So I give you that, and I think the question now though is also if he makes a couple good plays. Let's say, Mike, they get back to the NFC title game and they end up playing the Eagles for example.
There you go.
Okay. Let's say they have two solid games, they win. Yep. Then comes to the Eagles and let's say he looks bad in that game. Now what? They probably still roll with him, but they're probably still not sold. They're probably still not like, this is our future guaranteed for forever. But at this point, like, I think that would be the cherry on top if they ever got that. So I just think it's important not to evaluate that and say that he's certainly their quarterback for X amount of years, right? I think that's the cherry on top if you're going to evaluate it.
Yeah, Sam Howell's like just as risky, right? We talk about maybe they come in and clean house with that organization, and maybe they don't want Sam Howell, right? Just keep in mind, right? You're not set in stone with Brock Purdy being the dude for the next couple of years. So I just want to caution folks because I think he's amazing, like the next coming. I think he's fine. He's okay. But is okay what you really want to shoot for in Dynasty? If you do, go ahead. Like, I'm always trying to strive, even when I had Kirk Cousins, like okay, I can get by with this guy, but, I'd really like to do something else. Right? Is Lamar available? Can I get into it? Ooh, the CJ Stroud, he looks nice. Can I try this?
Hopefully. That would be insane. Antho must know I'm just coming from NYC. Ethan. All right, let's go ahead and get some of these questions knocked out. If you have differences, man, listen, go ahead and put them in the comments. Oh, first of all, Dan, Ethan, I promise I'm going to get to you. Dan, I wanted to mention this. You want my glass? SouthHarmonFF.com. It's yours, buddy. Mike has one. It's up for grabs. We're going to get these. We are going to get Antho's coasters on there at some point. I had a feeling what was coming, Mike, but not. I didn't think they'd be looking like this fucking dope. They're nasty, bro.
They work great with a bourbon glass or a beer glass or.
I feel like it's
my
like
wife's
it feels
got a wine glass that's got South Harmon on it. So if you got that special lady, Christmas is coming up. Nothing says I love you like a shit wine glass.
I was gonna say, you know what though? It's kind of dangerous.
Every kiss begins with shit.
We gotta clip that. Man, I completely lost my train of thought. The dangerous part, aside from Mike serenading me, is that I see this glass kind of sitting there, and it makes me want to pick it up and drink it a little more, So it could be dangerous. 12-team Superflex, full PPR, 0 tight end premium. +4, -1, so 4-point passing touchdown, 1 pick. Start 9, rebuilding. Should I trade Lamar for a Rich and a 25 late first? Hey, Antho, how come I didn't get that one, by the way? How come it's okay that mine's not movie quality? If not any counter options. So trade Lamar for a Rich plus late 25 first, plus I'm guessing that's mid 25 first? Or is it just late, Ethan? If it's two,
one.
If it's a,
Let us know if it's 1 or 2.
Yeah, if it's a late 25 first, I'm 100% in. A late and a mid 25 first, Mike, let's just say, because I know you agree. You will take A-Rich. You would send your late 25 and Lamar for A-Rich, right? Or I'm sorry, late 25 and A-Rich for Lamar.
I would take the A-Rich and the 2 first side.
Here.
Start 9. Yes.
This one. If it was one late first.
If it's just Lamar for A-Rich and the 25 late first, I'm taking Lamar.
Okay, we're on the same page here. If it's a late first, if I need to send a late first with my A-Rich in 25, that's all it takes to go get Lamar, who's playing. And listen, he's not playing the number 1 overall option like we were maybe hoping for, but he's still damn good. I'm in. Yeah. 2 first, like if it's a late and a mid, I'm probably not doing that, frankly. It's just too much. Even though the 25 class, listen, the 25 class doesn't project for us to be, some great class, but we saw this in 22. That's also a fallacy. It's still a draft class, and there's still going to be people in that matter. And right now, 2 years down the line, I don't even have to care who matters in that league. I know that this class, regardless of the prospects, is going to carry enough type of value. And if it doesn't, I'm going to draft the players. So I'm not doing it for 2. I'll do it easily for the late. Let me ask you this, Mike. If you could counter back and drop the late, if it's a mid 25 first, you still in?
Ooh, no. No, and because he put on there, he's rebuilding too, right? Like, I want to go get the elite quarterbacks when they come available because they don't come available all that time. Like, the buying window sometimes is very small.
Yep.
But I also do believe Anthony Richardson has the possibility of being there. Now, some things got to go right, and I urge him to please learn how to take care of your body. Like, please, I understand you're a fucking tank, but I'd also love to see you scoring fantasy points for the next 15 years for some of my squads. So,
yeah.
Just take care of yourself a little bit more. But to your point, we were talking, I think it might have been the Canton Bound show, we were talking about A-Rich versus Kyler, and you brought up the good point. A-Rich is going to be the one who's ascending in the offseason, like who climbs back up as soon as he's cleared, he's on the field, he's participating in OTAs, or he's making this training camp throw. Yeah. You guys remember how excited you were in fucking October for Anthony Richardson.
Right.
So he's going to come back up again. So if you're rebuilding, you don't really have to, and if it's going to require a mid, I pass. I go, I'm keeping the mid. I'm keeping A-Rich. You hold on to your Lamar. We'll explore this, next July if you really want to.
Antho, do I need to file like a claim with UPS or USPS. What? How come he got the big logo? Where's my big logo? Sheesh. I mean, I feel like something had to go wrong. Anyway, we'll clear that up later. I'm with you. I think the other thing too is that move. Like when we typically say absolutely on a move like that, it's like, hey, I'm on a contender. I need to win now. I don't want to have a chance to lose because I have A-Rich on my team with this rest of the greatness around it. If you're rebuilding, I can understand just, hey, I'm going to get off of one late first. This asset's more secure. Even though A-Rich might ride a little bit of a high, I know Lamar is someone I'm not going to move off of in this format, right? Because it's a lineup start 9. You just want to have that security. Fine. You get past that in a rebuild, I'm with Mike. It's not really how I want to handle my rebuilds, right? It would be a move, I guess I would say, Ethan, if you wanted to do something like that, that would be a move at the end of the day, like, hey, I'm coming out of a rebuild and I have a little extra to play with. I'm just trying to form a goon squad. But typically I'm going to say no. All right.
Yep.
Would you trade likely 103 for Addison and the likely 109? I'd be getting the 103.
Not a chance in hell.
Really? You
Would
wouldn't
I trade the... So if he's getting the 103, I would trade Addison in the 109.
Yeah. He's saying, would you trade the likely 103 for Addison and the likely 109? I'd be getting the 103. Yes, we're on the same page. You take the 103 there, right?
Oh, it's just weird because he asked.
He worded it that way.
From the other perspective.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You were the other guy.
It's a little, we got a lot of sorts. But now that we know what to do with our hands, we want the 103.
It's a 12-team Superflex league. I want the 103. You can have Addison in the 109.
Definitely. I mean, the 109. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Keon Coleman. It could you may end up getting a guy like Keon Coleman, right?
It's going to be a good class. It's going to
the
be
receivers
a good class,
at 109 are going to be deep enough. I agree with Mike, but
1, 2, and 3 are just fucking different.
So Harrison Jr., like I'm telling people right now, he's going to have, right or wrong, the value of Chase Light right away. People are, and the way the position is trending, remember when Chase came out, when Justin Jefferson came out, the community as a whole wasn't fawning over receivers to the degree that they are now, right? So like Marvin Harrison Jr.'s value is going to be ridiculous. So here's the thing, Mike. I'm locking him in at minimum, or if that's not the case, guess what I'm getting? I'm getting off of Addison in the 109, and I'm getting in a start 10 league Drake May or Caleb Williams, buddy. Pew. That's the hedgehog, man. That's the real runner. I'm out of here.
So those top 3 guys all have a realistic, and I did the Canton Bound. I did a solo, so if you want to check that out on Thanksgiving when it drops, check it out because I just went through the 24 class.
Yeah,
and not like a deep dive, right? I'm not a fucking Devi scout, right? I can't tell you the ins and outs of every single person, but just from how I'm viewing it, Adam, I mean the first and second rounder, chef's kiss deep, but there's a difference between the 101, 102, 103, and everything else. Everything else. And those first 3 picks are all threats. And I'm not even saying threats. It almost feels like a foregone conclusion. They're going to be first-round dynasty startup picks, right?
I would say, at some point? Oh, yeah.
I mean, at some point next offseason, June, July.
Oh, you think
right?
so?
Yes.
I do think that I think that Caleb and Marvin Harrison Jr. have a really, really good chance. I'm not even going to say Drake May can't. He would be the one. I love Drake May, by the way.
What happens when Drake May goes first in the NFL draft?
I'm not going to say there's not a scenario that he can't. To that point, okay. First overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, it depends who the team is. Like, I could see funny things like people being like, "Oh, I hate this landing spot," but no, I think that's where there's scenarios, Mike. Drake May could become a first-round startup pick. At the same time, I think if there was one that isn't like, I would be more surprised to see Caleb and Marvin Harrison not flirt with that back-end first round at minimum than I would Drake May. But I do think, to your point, they all could end up being there. They all have scenarios where they're probably, I'd say at worst, you talk about like middle of the offseason after the draft, man, when the hype really starts to hit. I don't see these guys being outside of top 15 minimum, like top, right in that range, 15, 18. Like there's just no way you're going to get past those guys because they're all going to have elite draft capital and they're prospects that everybody loves. So
You're going to talk about two quarterbacks that are going to almost instantaneously be inside the top 10 for most people's dynasty ranks, and you're talking about a wide receiver who's going to push Jamar Chase for wide receiver 2 without even playing a fucking game, which is insane.
What's crazy is C.J. Stroud having the year he's having too. I feel like people are going to utilize that and the reason they're chasing the upside.
They're going to juxtapose that onto these rookie quarterbacks.
What's so funny is somehow I feel like people are going to miss that how Bryce is going to fall. Like they're not going to see that as much as they're going to see this C.J. Stroud upside and A. Rich climbing back after the injury like that. Those are guaranteed things. So it's just it's funny, but I'm not disagreeing. I think I'm with you. They're all going to go high. So anyway, you can lock in a top 3 pick. This is a move that I think, listen, if you drafted a player and held for a year or two, could this move bite you? Maybe. Yeah. But here's the thing. Right now in value and what you'll be able to trade and do with that player for the next, 2 years, you're probably safe at just insane value.
Well, a lot of people's seasons is already over. As we keep going on, more and more people's seasons are over, and now we switch to rookie fever and rookie hype. So you're just starting the value ascension, so this is a good time to go ahead and get it. Like Adam said, you don't have to keep it. You don't have to actually draft the guy if you don't want to, but you can capitalize on the increased value at a later time down the road.
What up, DB? Yeah, I feel you on the long day, man. I had a great time in New York, but all of a sudden I'm like, damn, I'm leaving to go to El Paso tomorrow. I'm kind of just like, damn, the excitement isn't there. As I'm just tired of being on a plane already, and I haven't even been yet. So let's go. It'll be fun. All right, 12-team Superflex half PPR start 9 lineup traded Purdy and Njoku in a late 25 and a 25 late second. For Andrews and a 25 first this week in our deadline. I'm not thinking I should have waited until the offseason. I tried for more. I
think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm good at the Andrews thing.
This is light for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a couple things. I think for me, I talk about, I don't know that Mike and I are really much different on Purdy. Whether you listen to us in his staunchness versus where I'm at. I do think though Purdy in this format, I'm just seeing right now, Mike. Anyway, Superflex half PPR start 9 lineup. I don't see a tight end premium here. So there's that aspect one. And I don't know, Brandon, if you're still here. It would need to be a pretty significant tight end premium for me to really even start considering this.
Yep.
And even at that point, then, Mike, I asked myself, do I really need Andrews? Because here's the thing. When I'm buying Andrews, the reason I haven't moved is because I typically haven't gotten deals like this on the other end, one. And two, I haven't bought is because when I kept asking myself, do I need Andrews? It's it's nice to buy low, but I don't think I'm buying low for a swooning type deal where I feel great about getting my Andrews share. You know what I mean? That's where I'm kind of lukewarm on even buying him, and definitely not for this price because if there's not a high enough tight end premium, it's Purdy still. I don't want to lose a quarterback to go do this.
Right. If you even put it as you paid 2 firsts for, from the 25 first, you can kind of just cancel those dudes out, right?
Yeah.
But you paid a first and a second plus for Mark Andrews while he's hurt and not doing a fucking thing. I'm good.
Yeah, I guess here's the thing, right? So actually, Mike, the way I'm looking at this, if I was going to try to give you a chance to defend the deal, I'm not saying that you will.
Yeah.
So in Njoku at the tight end position, right? We say either, especially in lineup, go get an Andrews, go get a Kelce, go get a difference maker, or don't get any at all. Correct. The way I'm going to ask you this question is now, Mike, would you trade Njoku in this late second to go get Andrews? And then to a point you've made earlier, I think you're talking more about the 24 class to pivot in, but Purdy for that late or for this 25 first with the idea of maybe moving that or just straight up a first for Purdy.
Possibly. I think it just at this point, with Purdy just coming off a game, Andrews being done for the season. Here's the thing about trading for guys who just got hurt who are superstars. That residual value carries over for a couple weeks before people realize, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I think, you know what? It's like
the panic doesn't set in. Like, so the market always comes down on them. I understand the trade deadline was this week, so you kind of got to do it. But, like, that's the kind of offer I'm sending. And if you want to take it, then take it. And if you don't, then, I'll see you in the off season.
Yeah, I guess when your deadline would be, plays into the value and how quickly it falls for Andrews.
Right.
I actually, Michael, I'm pretty sure in all my leagues the deadline hasn't hit yet.
That's because you play in a lot of leagues. Fuck
we
those
don't
trade deadlines.
No, those don't have a trade deadline. That doesn't even count. So I remove 30 of my leagues, basically.
I think it was Big Corey. In one league. He was like, "What is this? A shit league with a trade deadline?" And I'm like, "Great catch, my guy. There's not supposed to be one in here."
Go check
this off.
Go check the pin bylaws up top. It's not supposed to be, so we'll change it for you. But yeah, I think the leagues that I have a deadline in, Mike, it's like typically those deadlines are like right before the playoffs are going to get ready to start. So in those scenarios, I think Andrews is going to retain value. People think they can trade him. They're going to have time. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, the playoffs are going to start. Do I really want to hold Andrews? Then you'll see him maybe move for a little cheaper. But I personally, I don't want to trade Purdy for a 25 first, man, frankly. Unless I know that first has some sort of big upside. I don't really want to do that right now. Yeah. I think you can get more maybe.
I think Njoku in the second for Andrews was like something I would try to get done.
100%, man.
Yeah. Purdy for the 25 first. I mean, it's not egregious. I just think I'm kind of good.
12-team Superflex PPR start 9 competing in lost Burrow. Okay. Trade Burrow and Tony for Kyler and Sutton.
Yuck. Sutton's actually been sneaky good, too.
I'm going to say it.
But the stink
for people that are not paying attention, it's sneaky good. For those paying attention, it's not sneaky good anymore. This dude's basically catching a touchdown every time he lines up. It's ridiculous.
Fair enough.
But yeah, to your point, it's still sneaky because people hate, to your point, the stink. They hate some Cortland Sutton.
I think I would do this.
I agree. You know what's crazy? I would do this too. Here's the thing.
Fuck Sutton, Tony, man.
Tony, I could care less about in most formats. Like Mike, even in best ball, I really don't care about Tony, if that makes sense.
The only thing I worry about with Kyler is just, ACL. Not that he looks slow or anything. He still looks like Kyler. He still looks all the way back. But you've seen these guys go out with like a hammy.
I know. That's the one I'm thinking of. Compensation injuries, man, that come with it. Yeah.
Please just – because
here's the problem.
Real crunch time, and I don't want to fucking just trade one quarterback for another guy who might go down.
Mike, can I tell you, what's –
Not saying he will.
No, to this point. To this point. If the deadline was week 13, like if I make this right going into the deadline, like right going into the playoff week, all right, I'll do this probably. I don't hate this, but here's the problem. The upgrade from Tony to Sutton is great. Frankly, like Mike, if I could add little pluses to that, I would do that anywhere, anytime. Like I don't care about. The problem is now that upgrade's cool, but dude, you have to understand the downside of Kyler and how the community feels about him. If anything happens, another compensation injury, let's say somehow he doesn't actually play as well as he has the first 2 weeks. Like there is just so much downside with Kyler. Not saying that there's not upside. And not saying he can't help you win this league. But you're trading off of Burrow, man. Like, think about how this year's gone, Mike. Burrow started awful slow. He then came back, started looking better. Now he's out for the year, and it's his throwing hand, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Yep. Wrist.
Mike, wrist, thank you. There is no worry, no concern, no value drop. Like, this is a locked-in top 5 asset for the next 5 years, probably. I know that sounds insane to say. And 5 years might be strong, but to the point of Burrow's safeness and high-end upside and dynasty value versus where Kyler's floor is drastic. I would say this, David, if you really feel strongly that if you don't make this trade, you aren't going to win, this is something I would explore and do. But I also feel like, Mike, let me ask you this. I feel like you're at least entitled to ask for another plus of some sort that can get you a chance at lineup consideration. I'm not talking getting crazy. I'm not talking adding some awesome piece. I'm talking adding some sort of value, whether that's a pick or a player that has a realistic chance maybe that you might need to trade later or get into your lineup.
You can ask for it.
I'm not saying he's going to give it to you. I just think you're at least in the ability to ask for it, man.
You know what, David? Like, I'll make a nice determinant. Fuck it. I'm doing this. No risk it, no biscuit. Go get that championship.
All right, there you go. Well, because here's the thing. Once you make this trade, and once you do that, to your point, if you do not win this title, you will look back and not like this trade.
Yeah, maybe.
That you will. Maybe. I know. I can. Mike, no. You will not like this trade.
Nah, maybe. Don't act like Kyler's fucking ass, okay?
I'm not acting like he's ass, but he's not. He doesn't have.
The angry toddler deserves better.
Fine. I have defended that, but I'm not putting him into the Joe Burrow conversation.
He might be.
No.
He's outscored him.
Stop it. Why? See, this is why we put the shades.
I know they're facts.
This is why we put the shades on this guy. They're not facts.
True.
Here's what's facts. Kyler Murray has no chance to get to the land of top 5 quarterback right now until another year or so where we have no worry he's going to move on from a team. It's the dynasty community that hates him. Clip it. It's facts. That's 100% facts that he will not get the Burrow chase.
Marvin Harrison Jr. won't be top 5. Got it.
Factual. He will not be Joe Burrow. That's facts. And clip it. And David, you want to go for the title? Go get it, man. Just understand that you better win it or you will not like the trade. Whatever Mike tells you is what Mike tells you.
Going to come out fucking tomorrow and tell the world he's retired. He's tired of being beat up like Andrew Luck.
There you go. Now we're talking. Just like, listen, the Viking season's over. Listen, let's stop going down these la-la lands with this bullshit. The fuck out of here.
The Viking season is over. They just lost to the fucking Broncos, bro.
That's fine. The Broncos just beat the Chiefs. The
Broncos
just beat the Chiefs and the Bills.
You see how this fucking goalpost for Justin Jefferson's return just keeps moving back and back and
back?
Sure. You know what's happening.
You think he's not going to play the rest of the year?
He ain't coming back.
Wow. Mike, why don't you bury yourself right now and let's talk about Purdy not having any upside again? Come on, let's do it. Let's bury you right now, right here on the spot. You want to?
He ain't coming back.
Hey guys, help me. Let's. He's digging his own grave. You just want to give him a little nudge. He's been drinking. All we gotta do is give him a little nudge.
Now it's week 14 at best.
Good. Playoffs. Just hopefully. I mean, your team's probably screwed though. But that was about the other question. Where's the other questions here? Okay. Bargustus. All right, boys, 12-team Superflex. Start 10. Half PPR, half tight end premium lineup. Tanking. Trade Dak for Higgins and Mike Williams or a second. No. Hell no.
Thank you. Pass.
Bargustus, let me just ask you with reasoning, like what are you trying to accomplish in this trade, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. Listen, I guess none of us are wearing it. Listen, this is a quarterback hoarding lifestyle show. Okay, the brand is a quarterback hoarding brand, and it's a lifestyle we live here. Yes, especially when one of them's Dak, I have absolutely no fucking worry at all about having a fourth quarterback. Also, any Black Friday deals on South Harmon Shop, I tell you what, Bargustus, you don't make that trade, I'll discount you the quarterback hoarding shirt because you fucking need one. You need a reminder. You need a reminder. That no. Listen, this isn't fuck T. Higgins. All right, this is a quarterback hoarding brand and lifestyle. Damn it, and Bargustus.
I like that.
If you want to trade Dak, Mike, just to answer the question, if you want to trade him for a skill player, which if you're quarterback hoarding, fine. It's not T. Higgins though. Like it's not T. Higgins.
I mean, let's not act like Dak is 39 years old either, man. He's 30.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Well. This is actually, Mike, a little bit, honestly, to the point. Okay. I want to talk a little more. I'm going to use the Murray situation to kind of get to my point, actually. When the community decides they're not really all that secure as you're a high-end asset and you're not really, really young, when I say really, really young, I'm talking stupid young, like quarterback in 23, 24 territory. Right. The fact that Kyler's going to be going 27, it's this Watson thing. I'm not saying he's going to get as low as Watson. He's going to play as bad as Watson. But the community now will push you down. Like Dak Prescott, if he was not to turn it around, the community was going to get ready to write this man's career off.
That's fine.
And that's where I'm not saying you can't hold him. My point is that understanding in Dynasty that there's too much. What my point actually is getting to, there's too much value loss to quarterbacks because they're 27. if this quarterback is 27, he could still play for 7 years. 5 years, easy.
How good does the wide receiver and the second have to be for you to do this?
I'll be honest with you. Like, I tend to, and you know this, the way we do it in quarterbacks, like, you can drop this second, you can drop this nickel and diming getting to Dak. We're coming for cheeks. Like, we're coming for cheeks. You can leave these little extra picks out. Like, there's one way you get there, and that's the hard way.
I give you 3.
Okay, go ahead.
4 options.
Name it. What do you got?
Justin Jefferson.
Not happening.
Chase.
Not happening.
The pick that's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. A.J. Brown. I'll throw CeeDee Lamb in there.
Okay, I was going to say Fizzle. Holy crap! You
Fizzle
didn't even say earmuffs too. Like, if you, nah, Mike, I'll throw Amon-Ra into the ring. That's the list for me.
That's a good one.
Amon-Ra to me is Amon-Ra is actually I don't know if that person has it, right? But Amon-Ra is one of those where it's like, okay, 1 for 1, boom, done, easy. I'll take this.
What if it was your boy Garrett Wilson?
You have to now we're past the point of cheeks, and if you want to make this happen, you got to bring a lot of lube to the table. Like, it's got to be, it's not a second. It's got to be, I don't know, a late first maybe. If you give me a late first or something like that with Wilson, we could have a conversation, right? Like, okay. But you if you're not giving me a straight up offer of one of those high end ones, which probably isn't going to happen in this league, it sounds like, you're going to have to start bringing the quarterback piece to the table, like a real piece, not this second. It's a late second is not going to change my values on a quarterback purchase, right? Just understand what I'm trying to say there.
I get you. Not bad. I'm still QB hoarding, right? You got a little nice QB hoard going on here.
You really do. You really do.
And the best part about it, right? If people don't like Dak, then you trade one of the other dudes that maybe they like a little bit more.
That's actually one of the beauties and underrated aspects, Mike, of the quarterback hoard is nobody likes Dak. Okay. I like Dak then. Who do you like? I like Dak just fine still. Here, you can have – you want to come get your Justin Herbert? Bam. Now we're cooking with gas. Let's see what you pay for that.
I feel that. I
There's
do
Zach.
love that about the QB hoard.
Yeah, you have options, right? The only problem is if your quarterback hoard is Kenny Pickett and Mac Jones and the guys that you don't nobody wants, right?
Nobody wants,
including yourself. Zach doing it right, getting the eggplant in there. Appreciate you, buddy. What's going on with you? Is trading Olave for Kincaid and 301?
I thought he was mad at us.
Oh, of course he is.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that he's Listen, Mike. It's kind of like in college, right? You play the game with somebody, you have a lot of fun with them. You can get mad over losing the game or, a video game you're playing in the dorms, or you can get mad over a play, but where the fuck are you going to go? You live in the dorms, man. Like, you still got to deal with us. You got to come deal with us even when you're mad. 301 and Kincaid for Olave in a 12-team Superflex, 2 tight end premium, half PPR enough. This is 301 in the 24 class, I'm assuming.
Must be.
Okay. Michael.
I'm going to describe it in a way.
Are you going to make Zach more mad at you?
Maybe. I don't know. If you believe that the last couple weeks of Dalton Kincaid will continue from here till perpetuity, even when Dawson Knox, who they also signed to an extension and a contract and played a lot of meaningful snaps early on and looked like the value tight end, will continue, and capital and Chris Olave within the last 4 or 5 weeks will only have a couple good games, like he's had the last 2, and he will be more like Chris Olave with Derek Carr, who couldn't throw the ball any farther than what Alvin Kamara could run an angle route on, then yes, this is enough. Now, if any one of those things is not true, then fuck no. No, thank you. There's my answer.
I mean, honestly, Mike, that's not a bad answer. Here's the way I will say this. I kind of like a lot of your points you made there. They're kind of the ones I'm going to make. If first and foremost, everybody listening to this, and whether it's Christian clipping this as a short or whether this is you're listening right now or later, The only reason I'm even giving this the credence, and probably I'm going to end up making this trade, Mike, is a very key part, the 2 tight end part for me, right? The half-point tight end premium is not a big deal for me. The 2 tight end, though, with a little premium makes it where, okay, maybe now is a league that this is where I'm willing to get a Kincaid. If this is a single tight end league, man, everybody listening, watching this, if you don't play in a 2 tight end league or you're comparing for a single one, no, man, just stop right now because I don't care about the tight end position enough. Now, to the part of the 2 tight end and just the way people trend, right? Mike, if Chris Olave came out and let's say in the next 3 weeks had 2 top 10 finishes, 2 out of the next 3 weeks had top 10 finishes, he's still young enough. This is kind of the point I'm making the quarterbacks. It's all these assets. He's still young enough and has enough hype around him that you'll see a bump again. People are ready to be excited for Olave. The problem is he's starting to break people's hearts. And guess what's happening at the same time? Kincaid's starting to have his showing out party. I'm already watching Keep Trade Cut get Kincaid into a different tier ahead of Chris Olave. In a league, Mike, that's not even all the way up. They have this new tight end premium thing. I didn't even take it all the way up. I took it to 2 pluses, not 3. He's ahead of in a different tier. And I think that trend for people in Dynasty is going that way. You give me the 301 as a little grease piece, I'm okay with it. Understand there's a lot of downside for tight ends in their young rookie year, right? Because when you start peaking, you have a lot more to lose than gain. So this one's a little tougher, but I think with the grease piece of the 301, the fact that the format would be one that does actually warrant a trade like this, I can get behind it. It feels rich. It never feels good getting off of an Olave share, frankly, who's still a top 10 wide receiver in Keep Trade Cut for a tight end and a third. If there's an exception to the rule, this would be it for me.
Ooh, all right. Different ends of the spectrum here. Got a fight going on. Maybe Zach will be back on your side because he thinks you got bent over in IDP.
Yeah, well, I mean, now each one of you once today think I got bent over, so here we are. That's all right. I mean, I think, too, Zach, here's the tiebreaker because it's very close for me. And I'll take – the reason I'm taking the tight end in the third is I'm getting the plus, and I think their values are close enough, and the 2 tight end warrants – if you were going to lean into the tight end position, this is where possibly you could do it. I think the other tiebreaker is now, Zach, do you think that like an asset like Kincaid is pretty liquid to move in a league like this? Because I'm viewing it more like that, where I think I can now move a piece like Kincaid later too, if I want to. If that's not the case and you feel like you're going to be stuck with him for a year or two, I think I might think a lot harder about this type of a trade.
Ooh, that reminds me. I got to get a Chris Olave jersey. I'm trying to figure out which one I get, Adam. Do I get the Saints version or do I get the Ohio State version?
You know the answer to that. Where was he best at?
The Saints last year.
No. Oh, he was good last year. He was good.
He was amazing last year.
He was good. We've been over this warp discussion. Let's not go down the warp lane. He was good.
Actually, I do have an Olave jersey. I got a black one. I forgot about that.
I was going to say, I thought you already had the Ohio State one, but
I've been trying to keep up with Fizzle and like one up them all over the time. And
if assets aren't elite, I'm going to treat them like redraft players. Fair?
I don't mind that at all.
Fair.
I think that's something we got in a good discussion here. So, listen, the offers have already been sent out. Most of them have been declined. But Adam, I don't know if you caught that. I was looking at Derrick Henry. Last 2 games have been dog shit, right? Here's some free game for y'all. Last 2 games have been dog shit. You look at his schedule, though. He gets Carolina, who's terrible this week. Terrible in run D. He gets Indianapolis, who's terrible. I think then he gets Houston, okay? Then he has a tough matchup against the Dolphins. And then he gets Houston again. And that's how he finishes out your fantasy football season. Right there, right? Like 4 cake matchups, 1 tough one.
Okay.
But against a team that also likes to, get in shootouts and put up a lot of points. So maybe there's a possibility the Titans can keep up for a half. Okay. I was being nice.
Maybe.
I was being nice.
We hope.
I was being nice.
Yeah.
But 4 like super cake run defense. So while the last 2 weeks look like shit, the 3 weeks before Derrick Henry is a top 12 running back, like an RB1 every single week. Mm-hmm. Last 2 weeks have looked terrible, haven't been good. People are like, should we panic? His father time finally caught up to him, and I'm going, man, he might actually be a buy. So I get on the old keep trades cuts, right? The old keep trades cuts. Zach fucking Charbonnet was ranked higher than him.
Yeah.
By a fair amount. And there's some hype around Zach Charbonnet because maybe Kenneth Walker might miss a couple games with the groin or the abdominal.
Oblique, yeah.
Yeah, the oblique. I'm like, fuck that, man. Everywhere I got Zach Charbonnet and I got a contender, I'm sending his ass straight away for Derrick Henry. And I'm going to bank on the fact Derrick Henry might blow up for me in the fantasy playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, people are like, well, don't you want the youth at the running back and his situation's looking better? Adam, Zach Charbonnet is not one of those players that falls into the category of I give a fuck how old they are. Right? He's not.
Well, yeah.
He's in the running back where I just look at him as like 1-year rentals. Like, unless you're Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, the fact you're a rookie, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
I was going to say, I was going to call it out, but I wasn't 100% sure. I'm like, there has to be. I saw the order go through in the Squarespace, and sure enough, it was Kyle.
Go.
It was Kyle with a B last name, so Bargustus. I won't air out where you live and all that stuff, but I appreciate the order, and we appreciate you embracing the quarterback order. And I'll tell you one thing. While we both appreciate that, Fizz will tell you.
Get a hat while you're there,
we appreciate you being here today, as Fizz will tell you. You'll appreciate not just the purchase, but what you end up selling Dak or one of those other quarterbacks for. Because when you look back and it wasn't T, man, you're going to be happy. Just stick it out, buddy. Just stick it out. Trust me on this one.
But yeah, like the whole Charbonnet. Adam, what'd you think about that? I don't know if you caught that.
No, it's 100% correct. I think that Mike, that kind of speaks to the point I'm making in general about players where it's a fallacy. I'm not saying it's correct. And that's why, like, sometimes when I'm saying the Kyler downside, I don't buy into it personally. I'm fine with Kyler. Part of it is what can I trade these players for, and that's where tiebreakers may be different for me. It's not. I just have seen the downside. I've seen how they treat age. They act like a guy who's 28 can never get into the elite territory before because he's 28. I don't care what position he plays. Like,
I get you.
You know what I mean? It's Mike Charbonnet, for your point, has done zero. Literally has given you no reason to believe he's going to overtake or even get into a snap share conversation with Kenneth Walker. He misses. Gosh, he's not on IR. What's he going to miss? Let's even say he misses 3 weeks. Is that fair? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say he misses 3 weeks.
Maybe.
Why are we valuing the fact that not just that Kenneth Walker's missing 3 weeks, but the fact that he's 22, 23? Like, why? Why does that go into a 3-week window? Like, it's to the point overall you're making, which is people get over their skis for youth. It's stupid. Like
Kendre Miller is another one. They're like, oh, well, he's young, so he may have a role next year. You know how many of these young running backs, like Adam, you and I used to be on this train all the time, man, and I gave a list of people in the Discord. Like, I gave a list of all these guys that we propped up because of youth at the running back position where I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. Look at it. Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, dead. No one cares. Keyshawn Vaughn, Trey Sermon. This shit happens. The list is endless of who gives a fuck that you're young. Najee Harris is still young, and we treat him like he's fucking 37-year-old Frank Gore out there, still hanging on. Still hanging on with the Jets.
Zach, here's what I'll tell you.
Still trying to get one more year in.
Zach, I'm not actually sure because we're behind on these comments. I'm not actually sure what this was in regards to, but here's what I can tell you. Don't you fucking tell me what my color is, because nobody knows what it is. Nobody can tell me what it is. They're all confused by my color. So you can't pinpoint it anyway, all right?
That's right. We just had a great short, thanks to Alan.
All right.
Disappointed that Adam's white.
So I'm not really sure if this is a good thing, a bad thing, or either way, but I'll just tell you out of love to fuck off, all right?
Love it.
All right.
Anytime you can tell Zach to fuck off, it's a good time.
With you. All right. Let's see. All right, Geist. 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR, 2 tight end with a 7.75 tight end premium, giving Waddle, Mayer 24 second, get CD and Fant.
Ooh. Pricey.
I'll take the CD side.
Yes.
For sure. It's for sure. And I'll tell you, you want to tell everyone why you take the other side? Why you take the CD side?
3 pieces for 1.
Yeah, to me it's okay. So the 2 tight end thing and everything I just talked about with Kincaid.
And that's also me, like, not counting my guy Noah Fant.
And I don't either. Even in two tight ends start, if you have to start them, like if you have to put them in your lineup, I'm not counting Noah Fant anymore.
I
unfortunately.
wouldn't even count Noah Fant in the best ball.
In best ball, Mike, I'll still hold him as a hope to God because I roster some shit fucking tight ends in these leagues.
I roster
okay,
Josh Oliver about it.
But I'm also considering Noah Fant closer to that Josh Oliver dog shit range. So just understand where it's falling. Okay, my love and my defense.
I consider Noah Fant a lot closer to Josh Oliver than I consider him to Hunter Henry, who also stinks.
And also Michael Mayer. I mean, geez, stop it. Now. We can almost I wish we could go back and delete that video, but it is going to be an all-timer, that Noah Fant video I made. Anyway, here's the difference. In two tight end leagues, okay, Dalton Kincaid, Mike, I was just going to give you this on that last trade. Part of the reason I say this is, like, when I have concerns for tight ends that might not be sticky, right, we talk about this a lot, like a Chig. Like, Dalton Kincaid, I know Knox has been out, but they're playing him on snap shares that are 84, 90. Okay, you playing well. You've got the name value insulation. They're putting you in on every down. I could see it being where he stays in this range of high-end player. I'm not saying it's locked in, but like that's kind of where I'm a little more willing to bet on it. I'm not saying Mayer isn't playing good snaps. Mike, I just don't think the value is really there for Mayer as far as tradability in the two tight end league. And the problem for me is Waddle. I made this comment with Eric actually on. What was that? The Start Sit show. Or no, it was the recap show. I'm sorry. Waddle is, for me right now, feeling very name brand, and I'm not getting anywhere near the production, and I'm not sure that the name brand price is appropriate. So I'm getting off of that. I'm getting off of Mayer, who's, I'm not saying I'm dismissing him, but I'm kind of nickel and diming my way from Waddle to get to CD, and the fact that Fant's coming back is fine. I don't really care. I probably end up being fine getting rid of him, frankly. But this price to go get CD as a whole is too easy for me because I'm just not there on Waddle right now, bro.
That's fair. It's just really tough for me to do a 3-for-1.
Yeah, if it was any type of piece that wasn't like this, a 24-second and the Mayer thing, I can totally get behind what you're saying. But because the pieces are those, I'm much more willing to do that.
Because personally, I'd rather just take Waddle. Like, I'd hold on to Mayer and the pick. I'd
Okay.
take Waddle, and I go get fucking Cortland Sutton, some other shitty receiver, like some other piece. And I turn Waddle into three pieces. Because, like you said, people have this overinflated dynasty value over what he's actually giving you for production. So
yeah,
that's the move I actually make instead of going to, like, up tier to CD.
I mean, if there's I would say if there's scenarios that you have that are different than this trade, I'm not going to tell you I wouldn't make some of those other ones, but if you guys, I'll tell you this, in a 12-team start 11 league like this, if you make more often than not some of those trades to down tier and get assets, and then you craftily make enough of these correct moves, like not too many of these, but you make enough of these moves when it matters the most, that combination's lethal. But to Mike's point, if you make enough of these 3-for-1 deals, you'll end up finding yourself with no assets to play with even in the middling range. So that's where it can be difficult.
You'll be like Sean 12. Salty as fuck.
That's not a place anybody wants to be, That's
no one wants to be him. Just crying in AF fuckos today. Just going, Mike's coming for my ass.
Okay, actually, hold on. No, I'm going to get to you, Flosaurus. Sorry. I see Noah Pollock. Boys, I traded the 101 for Burrow. Thoughts? Yeah.
No.
You won't trade the 101 for Burrow right now?
No.
Okay. I mean,
no.
I hope you'll at least give the people some reason.
Well, okay. Right now, Burrow looks like the better asset. But I'm going to have like 6 months where people are going to be talking about how high should Caleb Williams go? How high should Drake May go? There's going to be a point where they're almost even. And the one thing I can say is the 101, that always gives people hope. Like, Joe Burrow is going to have a fan or two, right? Not saying that most people won't be interested in him, but there might be one or two people in your league who go, I fucking hate Joe Burrow. Look, he's injured again. Look, he had that calf. Now he's got this wrist. Maybe he can't jerk off and throw the football anymore, right? Listen, I already saw the story about the maybe Joe Burrow's kind of like Andrew Luck, right? Maybe he's going to retire early. I've already seen this shit. Haven't seen the shit about the 101. Like, you've seen it about Caleb Williams, but you haven't seen it about the 101 pick. So, I'm good. At this point, I think I would hold the 101 instead of trading for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, well, context of the rest of the thing for me is massive here, but even still, I'll take Burrow. Because, and here's the reasons why. I'll give you my reasons, and you guys decide for yourself. Noah, in particular, you, because he says, I really don't know what I should be doing now in my rebuild squad. And Noah, let me just tell you, not that Mike has done a ton of these dumpster dive rebuilds. We both have done plenty of pick hordes for years out and try to go get your team set up. Here is what I view in the scenario of this. So the 101, to Mike's point, there is probably I can't really with certainty say that one or the other is going to happen as far as which one would be ahead or behind, because Burrow is going to be coming off of being hurt. The draft's going to come around. There's definitely hype. Mike makes a lot of good points there. It's not even that for me. When I get a 101 asset like Caleb Williams, right, I'm just going to, for the sake of the narrative, say, let's just pretend that's the pick. Like, you're gonna use it on this quarterback. All right. Now, to Mike's point, you could trade it, and you can try to trade it a little more at a peak. But like the way I would view this, and Noah, you got to ask yourself this, frankly. When I have a Caleb Williams in a 101, and I have 4 24s or 4 25s and 5 24s still left in my tank, what I'm actually trying to do now is find ways to make that pivot from Caleb Williams to Joe Burrow, because what I'm looking to do now is extract not necessarily the full value of 101 at its 100% peak. If I can get off of that for what I believe is a very, very talented, secure quarterback that can score elite points, I'd rather just lock that in than have, if you want to try to shoot higher than that, you'll probably end up with Caleb Williams. And if you end up with Caleb Williams, are we sure that he's going to produce like we, have seen C.J. Stroud? Are we not sure that he could be a little more like Bryce? What if you're not going to trade him for Burrow? Because, see, for me, eventually I want to now secure the elite asset. I don't necessarily want to have to wait for C.J. Stroud to develop. If you hit a C.J. Stroud, it's awesome. But if you get a Bryce Young, you'll hate it. If I can secure what I believe is one of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the class right now, or from this pick in the class, into that, a secure dynasty asset that I think has elite upside and points per game ability, I'm just going to go ahead and do that now and de-risk. Because I already have all these other picks I need to worry about moving.
The only thing I'll say is it's crazy that you talk about Joe Burrow in this way. But the fact now he's injured, he's out for the rest of the year, so he's not going to be doing fuck all to increase your dynasty value. We have this class coming in, and we just talked about Kyler Murray and how much the dynasty community ended up hating him, and people were knocking him and doubting him and everything else coming back. And yet, Kyler Murray's younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray runs the football, and Kyler Murray makes plays with his leg. It has a higher floor than Joe Burrow.
Right.
And Kyler Murray has outscored Joe Burrow.
Right. And that's all to the reason why. And that, what's crazy? It's all to the reason why Joe Burrow is more highly valued, because people actually believe that Kyler Murray is not a guy that's going to be a successful quarterback long term. Long term, they don't believe that he's like the answer long term, right? Joe Burrow is. Joe Burrow's paid highly. Joe Burrow's paid like one of the best guys out there. Joe Burrow is locked into that, and the community's telling you they value him that way. What's that?
Kyler Murray. What are you talking about?
Kyler Murray is not paid like Joe Burrow. He's got a bag, but there's already concern. It's concern. It's not even guaranteed. What?
He got the bag last year.
I know he got paid. Joe Burrow has a different contract than Kyler Murray does.
Holy Santa Claus shit. Adam, come on, man. Is this a bit?
Hold on. No. You think? Hold on. Are you saying that the community believes Kyler Murray's long-term success is the same that Joe Burrow's is?
Yes.
No, they don't. No, they do not. Fact, I can tell you it's not true. It's not true. That factually is not correct. The community does not believe.
Kyler Murray has a contract.
That's
just
fine.
like Joe Burrow has a contract.
Okay, Joe Burrow.
Kyler Murray got his contract.
And also what I'm telling you is
Joe Burrow
when a quarterback stays when a quarterback stays in this range, we can interrupt each other all you want. I will continue to talk. When a quarterback stays in this range at 27, it's because the community believes and keeps them in that range.
And yet he's falling.
Right, because he's currently hurt. He's currently hurt. Is he done for his career?
Just like Kyler Murray. Was Kyler Murray done for his career?
Nope. People did not believe that Kyler Murray was going to help teams win games. People were concerned that once Cliff Kingsbury moved on, he was not going to be the future. That's different than what people believe in Joe Burrow. It's a totally different conversation.
Okay.
Thank you. You're right. Okay is correct.
Sure.
Thank you.
Glad. 101. That's the answer.
Noah, do yourself a big favor. Ask yourself,
101.
if you keep Caleb, do you think Caleb is going to for sure be a better asset than Joe Burrow and score you points? Because eventually when you have this, you want to get secure assets. The answer is Joe Burrow.
Well, say the same thing about Kyler Murray.
Because you know what you could do? You could end up getting 101.
Oh, now it's the 101.
It's 101.
You got to ask yourself, is Caleb Williams going to be able to score as many fantasy points as Kyler Murray?
No, but the asset.
You want yourself into a safe asset that's going to score you fantasy
I don't
points.
believe Kyler Murray is safe to the
That's
community.
not going to be Kyler Murray because he might not have a job next year.
I don't believe that the community values Kyler as a safe
He might not be good
asset.
at football anymore.
Are you listening
He
to
might
me?
be dead.
You know what, Mike? I'll tell you one thing. The shades on your face, it's got to be hot because I know those fucking things that are in the middle of your ears you can't hear. You can't listen. I'll tell you one thing, man. Hey, Fizzle, I want you to be listening to this. Fizzle, Mike is going to hate anything that he doesn't believe in. That includes the Cowboys. That includes Purdy. And here's the crazy part. Your argument makes no sense. Why is Burrow not all the way down? Why is Burrow not falling to quarterback 15, 20 where Kyler was?
Not yet. It's only been 1 week.
So he's going to get to the quarterback 15 range, you think?
He might.
No, he won't. Stop it.
Before you
Stop
throw
it.
in 20, which you just fictionally made up this QB 20 number.
No, I saw Kyler going in the sixth round. I saw Kyler going in the sixth round of startups this year. No.
One draft.
Two drafts. Two drafts.
2 out of 40.
That's ridiculous. Burrow's never going to go in the sixth round of any type of dynasty startup superflex ever. Mike, that's too many. 1 is too many. 2 is definitely too many.
He fell to QB 14.
Okay.
Which is a range that
I
Joe
gave
Burrow
you
could
a
fall
guess. He's not going to fall to quarterback 14. Clip this, Christian. Clip this. He's not going to fall to quarterback 14. No.
It's already down to 7. He was down to 9 earlier this year.
Right.
And he was healthy.
But he was healthy
this year when he was down to 9.
He was not healthy. He was playing. He was not healthy.
He was playing football. That's healthy.
No, that's not. No, that is not, man.
Well, get your ass off the field then.
I can't take you serious. He was not healthy. He was playing.
Nobody healthy at this point in time.
This point in time, then was week 1 and 2 and 3 when he was not healthy.
Oh, shit. Go through a training camp. You healthy when you come out of training camp? Fuck no. You play fucking sports.
Oh, my goodness. People are much more healthy in the early part of the year, and there's plenty of people healthy relative to the end of the year. When in the football season, we never played that long. We don't even know, but we all know everybody's hurt. Everybody knows it's hurt.
Joe Burrow's dog shit. Take the 101.
Oh, my gosh. There you go. Clip that, too. Joe Burrow's dog shit. My goodness. I mean, I hate the Bengals, and I'll at least tell you the truth.
Oh, you love the Bengals because Joe Burrow's an Ohio State guy, right? Even though he never fucking actually, started for you.
I'm actually curious if there's any other. I don't see any other.
We got an inbox offer for Dynasty Barry. We have to answer. He even put the eggplant.
No, I'm surprised nobody has any takes on the 101 versus Burrow. I thought one way or the other. 12-team Superflex start 10. Inbox offer, Barry. Here you go. Mahomes, CMC, and Kamara for A-Rich 102, late 24 first, late 24 second. And this manager's 25 first back. He decided he can't compete. I've been trying to compete. Okay.
Talk about an offer.
This is a all right. So let's just try to get the assets a little more straightened out. So you're talking about the 25 first back, which is a big piece because he wants to rebuild, probably make it early. The 102, a late 24 first, a late second, an A-Rich. 102, you're talking, so let's just pencil in one of the quarterbacks, Mike, for the sake of argument, right?
A-Rich and the
A-Rich and a Drake May or a Marvin Harrison, right?
And
a 25 first back. Oh, you're trying to break it down? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
For Mahomes.
A-Rich and the 102 for Mahomes.
I would take Mahomes there.
Pass.
You want Mahomes or which side?
I'll take the 2 assets. I'll take A-Rich and the 102.
Okay. So
and then it makes the rest of it dog shit.
Okay, so then you won't give the 25 first back for CMC essentially, right?
No.
And then the first and second's too much for Kamara.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the trade as a whole, like, I don't agree with the point of Mahomes for those two assets, but to the point as a whole, I think there is a lot of value here for this trade, a whole lot of value for this trade. I mean, Barry, here's my question to you. In a trade like this, at this time of the year, okay, if you're going to make this, Barry, like I have to, if I'm going to even consider this, which you're already clearly considering, I think you have to say, okay, if I make this trade, if I lock in CMC, I lock in Mahomes, and I lock in Kamara for this price, like I'm winning I'm almost basically paying the tax to win. So if you look at your team and you say, man, if I had Mahomes, CMC, and Kamara to this team, I significantly lock in my chances to win. That's probably the only case I'm making to make this trade, because this is a lot back, and especially here's the problem: the 25 first that you have them by the balls by. That's the one piece that makes me feel like I could maybe try to get something else in my side or take something out of this trade.
Where are you at right now, Barry? Like first, second, third. How's your points forward look? It's a lineup, start 10, so you do have some variance.
Oh, God, no. He wants A-Chain too? Nah.
No. Piss off.
Well, I think, I mean, it's weird to want A-Chain, but just because, like, that's not, I don't know, that's not I shouldn't say that. It's just not the asset I'd be looking for back in a trade like this, but, listen, if A-Chain's going in this trade, you definitely have to carve some stuff out of this. It's way too much when you put A-Chain in my opinion, frankly.
I sent him his 25 first for CMC.
I mean, but here's the thing though, Mike. Here's the one thing though. This late 24 first, the 102 and A-Rich, nice assets, but like if you're in a position to win now, and I can get Mahomes, I'm not saying I want to just pay the world for him, but like that's a big thing if you need that Superflex spot, right? And you get the guy.
I'm with you on this one. If I was in position to win, like right now,
yeah,
A-Rich and the 102, and I get Mahomes,
yeah,
fine.
Man, definitely.
Fine.
And to that point, now if you're not in the position, you have to ask yourself, why am I not in the position? Can I really afford to send 102 and A-Rich for Mahomes? Probably not. I think, Barry, I think it's too much. I think, let me ask you this, Mike. What would you counter back, or what would you say, hey, you want this 25 pick back? I want to go win. We only have a certain amount of time to dance. What are we looking at? Like, what's the counter?
The 102 for Mahomes if you're ready to roll. If not, that you don't actually need Mahomes. Maybe you got some quarterbacks who are playing better, because let's not act like Mahomes is the fucking one in warp. Right? He hasn't been through 11 weeks. Right? That's Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts.
So he says this team was the one that he wanted to rebuild with initially, but now like a trade like this would make him in the position to potentially win. So it's kind of he basically saying, if I push in and make this type of a trade, he thinks the rest is ready to go.
That doesn't sound very confident to me.
It doesn't. Pass. He's saying trying to compete. Fact is, hold on. Let me just I'm gonna just start putting these up instead of just reading them aloud. Fact is, adding these pieces doesn't guarantee me anything.
And
okay.
Full lineup. Start 10.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Barry, if you have a pretty damn good squad and you're like, okay, I get Mahomes, I get CMC, and I get Kamara, because Kamara's aging, but he's playing well, warp-wise, right? CMC's, I mean, warp god with a ton of risk if he gets hurt, and Mahomes is just Mahomes. So, like, if you lock those into a really good team and you say, hey, I have a chance to win, like, not just a chance, I have a very good chance to win, I'll make that trade. Like, I'd probably take A-Chain out or do something to make it a little more palatable, but I would make a trade in that scenario. To Mike's point, if you're not really locking in a title there, I don't know that right now is the time to really necessarily make that move, frankly. Right?
Like, it's just, I just played the fucking variance, and you might luck yourself into a title anyways as the 5th seed.
And now,
happens all the time.
And now to Mike's point, too, with the two pieces for one. If you have 102, like 102 is not going to pass Mahomes, but 102 is going to get a bunch of steam. A-Rich is going to get a bunch of steam in the offseason. In the offseason, shit, man. That 102 and A-Rich can buy a fucking lot. Right now is not the time to push that in, other than if you can win the title. So that's, I guess, the reason I'll say that.
All right. Let's get one more question if we got one.
We bounce out.
And I got pee.
Mike's got a pee. All right. I'm sure I do too.
You sure you put this? Like, you don't?
No, I mean, I'm looking at the time. I can't believe it's already 11:15 almost. Jeez.
Well, time flies when you're having fun and arguing about Joe Burrow.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, always on AMA it goes forever. It's an hour and a half in. That's just, I don't know. It is what it is. It just flies. Sup, South Harmon and shitheads. What's up, man?
Time out, though, too. Like, Adam, how the fuck did we ever do this for 7 hours on day 3 of the NFL draft? Because I feel like we do an hour and a half on the AMA. I got to fucking piss like a racehorse by the time it's
Mike,
done. Like, it almost
you
hurts.
guys thought I was
we do
shitting
7
upstairs.
hours.
You guys had a whole bit that I was going upstairs to take a shit. Remember that's how many times I went up to piss? I was going so frequently. I probably pissed like 8 times in that span.
Maybe it's just me. I don't feel like I peed at all.
Well, can I tell you why? Right now, when we do this show, we don't break the seal. We basically like hold it, and we go. Once you break the seal, it's a wrap, dude. We're going up every hour probably. All right, so I hope you guys are all having a great night and getting some ship-winning deals done. We all are in agreement with that.
Hell yeah, chef.
Isn't Henry part snowman Yeti? Feel like he crushes it every winter on snow day.
Hey.
Walker has a brutal schedule. Oh, I thought there was a question. Damn. Well, we appreciate you tapping in, Chef.
I don't know if we're going to get 2 snow games. He plays Houston twice. So one of them will be in Nashville, not a highly snow area. And I sure as fuck know Houston don't get snow ever.
Well, there's the...
Has it gotten snow one time?
Well, you're familiar with Christmas, the Christmas jingles that are coming around. My wife's already playing them, you know. A tender Tennessee Christmas. Oh, yeah.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Mike, it doesn't... Well, it is. It was Thanksgiving like 2 weeks ago. Anyway.
I'm gonna have a conversation with her next time I come.
You should see my one of my good friends' wives who, as soon as Halloween's over, it's all up. Oh, bro, yeah, absolutely. It's a pandemic. It's the new pandemic in the world. The Christmas come early. Anyway, a tender Tennessee Christmas to the point you're making. There's no guarantee that it's snowing there. In Houston, while they can open it up, they ain't open it up for snow, and I don't even think it's going to snow down there anyway. So, yeah. It was a good thought. It's just the schedule doesn't work out.
Maybe. I don't think there's going to be one in Miami either.
You never, you know. Maybe it'll be a hurricane.
Yeah. Indianapolis. It's in a dome.
This is it, man. Here you go. Y'all see this? This is how we end on South Harmon. One quarterback. 12-team, 1 QB, 1 tight end. Sell Schultz for projected 204. I have McBride and nothing at tight end. Competing was offered. Schultz has been good, though. You're saying no?
I'm keeping him from death. This class is going to be good, and if I were to take away 4 quarterbacks, this becomes like the 208 in 12-team Superflex leagues,
right?
Which is still going to be fine, like the way I project it right now. Like I think most of the second round, if not all the second round, is going to be really good players that you're going to want. But if I'm competing, like, why am I doing this, right? Like what? What for? I know you're probably starting McBride, but Schultz has also actually been playing very, very well. He should be in consideration for starting as well, and it's a nice depth piece for the playoff push. Like, pass. What if Zach Ertz comes back in the next couple weeks, and all of a sudden McBride's like back to being dog shit, and you just traded away Schultz for a second round pick, and I'm good. I'm good.
You know what? Let's just keep the theme, man. Now, I'll say this. I don't know what the ability is for you to get a different tight end out there, like how replaceable they are. But I think as much as I hate this pick, and I hate 1 quarterback picks because Mike just nailed the point of, all right, you take 4 quarterbacks out of the class. Now this 204 is like maybe the top quarterback-ish pick, or which I don't want to use in 1 QB. Like I don't want to be the guy that's taking that in 1 quarterback, unless you take an A-Rich or some guy that has elite upside. I don't want to do it. But here's the thing I'll say: if Scribbles, if you want to lean into the Koopa life, the A-Warp life, you just do this because it's a early second, and Maybe you can actually flip this for a player that can get into your lineup on a team that's competing. You could start McBride. You could even start maybe someone that's worse. I think the other thing you have to have a conversation with is this tight end premium? What is Warp? What does Warp really look like? Like, what is Schultz actually doing for this team? Like, Schultz has been good, and frankly, being attached to the Texans' offense is something that you just want on contenders. So, I'm not going to say it's a smash deal. I don't know the entire situation that you have. My gut just tells me that it's the correct play to probably A-Warp this and try to see if I can move 204 or whatever, but it's close enough. If you just want to stay, I understand, but I think I would be of the mindset of exploring if I get this 204, what else do I have, and can I get a position difference maker that matters elsewhere? That's kind of where my head goes, but
yeah. Well, the last 4 games, there's 7 thousandths of a difference in A-Warp per game between the two. So
between McBride and Schultz?
Yeah, 7 thousandths. Thousandths, not thousand.
And that's where, Mike, I don't give Koopa a lot of like, you know, we don't really do that with our squad. Like, everybody knows how we feel. We love each other, but we don't really come out here and just, you know, suck each other off in the streets, right? Koopa, I'll give you your credence, man. This is Koopa. He's warping my mind a little bit, man. I would have always been with Mike here. Like, nah, I want Schultz. This 204 is not valuable. If you know your league and you may be able to move this 204 and something else and get a positional difference maker and just roll out McBride or roll out a different tight end, I think that's probably the avenue I would go. But if you can't do that and you wanted to hold, I understand.
Just looking at the last 2 games, if you want to make the sample size that small, there's 400ths of a difference in a win between the two. Favorite.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
But Dalton Schultz is still like tight end 7.
The only problem with tight end 7 is that's like so subjective league wise. Like, if it's a no tight end premium or a minimal tight end premium, it's like, who gives a fuck about tight end 7? But if it's like a heavy tight end premium or something, that tight end 7 might be in the range of, you know, a good skill player. So Scribbles, that's what I'm deciding by. What's the tight end premium? Where does quarterback 7 look like in Warp? How replaceable is it if you just move on? Because I think in most formats, I'm probably going to move on, but I can't say that guaranteed for yours.
Could you use that 204 to go buy something else at a different position?
That's exactly my point.
Add to it,
yes.
Upgrade, possibly. Yeah.
I hate seconds. I don't want to make seconds in a one quarterback. Like, I really don't. But you might be able to trade them, you know. So that's also the difference.
I just hate 1 QB leagues. I don't want to play in 1 QB leagues.
I didn't want to go that far, but Mike did.
Nice.
So
nice.
we're both on this. We're both on the same page of we don't want any part of 1 quarterback leagues.
I love it. How the fuck do we end on a 1 QB question?
Because I did that on purpose.
We start with Brock Purdy, we end with a 1 QB question, and we argue about fucking Joe Burrow.
I will admit, I am truly surprised at your, like, I guess, community dismissal of Joe Burrow. I've seen you do crazy stuff. You've seen me do crazy stuff. I'd be surprised to see Burrow fall as far as you think he might. So, it's a prediction.
This year once. People didn't like him for whatever reason. I tried to trade away Joe Burrow when he was playing bad, and nobody fucking wanted him, so it was weird.
Yeah.
And just the fact he's older than Kyler Murray and really can't do anything for the rest of this year because he's got a fucked up wrist, and Kyler's out here playing. So
yeah, I think
I'll be interested to see how it plays out. And then, like I said, we got 2 good quarterbacks entering the class, which are going to be a discussion for.
We do. Well,
first round dynasty startup picks. It's going to be a nice debate on where Joe Burrow actually falls with the 101 or the 102.
I don't disagree that Caleb will get into the mix of Burrow where he's at. There's no debate there. I think Caleb's going to end up being way overvalued. Is kind of the reason I'm okay making the trade now. But for me anyway, I know Burrow's not as young as T-Law, but I just see like the pocket passer that we think that the community thinks is really elite, like a T-Law, like they get so much extra value insulation that they shouldn't get, frankly. And I've had this conversation. Although T-Law had a great week last week, we're all sitting here saying, why the fuck is he still quarterback 9 in keep trade cut? Like, that's, I think, I don't know, errant, but I think that's where the community's at. So we'll see. We will see. We will see.
T-Law has a great week. Drops down 1 more spot.
You see.
But it makes sense, Adam.
I'm not going to make T-Law make sense. I definitely can't do that. But we love y'all. Mike's got to piss. We'll see you back here. Same time, same place on Wednesday next week. Right. We hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. We will see you on the Sunday recap. We're out of this thing. Peace.